I always thought my grandmother was going to live forever when I was a little girl. She suffered from a variety of health problems, and I saw her fight through every single one. And when I saw her fight through every single hospital visit, I thought for sure that she was invincible, superwoman, or just plain immortal. I also felt like I was the luckiest granddaughter in the world because I did not have to get dressed and drive to go see my grandmother to give her a big hug and a kiss. I could simply just walk down my hallway and there she was. I'll never forget the excitement I felt when my father told us that his mother, my grandmother, was going to be moving in with us. The reason why my grandmother had to move in with my family immediately was because she let her health deteriorate after the passing of my grandfather. The mixture of her mental and physical health issues caused her to almost die in a hospital 3 months after my grandfather passed away. Her near death scared my father and my family, so he took the initiative to let her live with my family and I. After many years of endless hugs, laughs, and advice, her health started to deteriorate even more, going all the way back to 2017. She moved through a continuous cycle of moving from our home to a hospital to the intensive care unit, or ICU, to a nursing home for rehabilitation, and then back to our house. Now, this cycle became the new normal for my grandmother. One time I would come home from school and I'd be like, okay, this is the new cycle for her. She would be back at the hospital again. And when she was hospitalized, I almost never worried because I knew that at the end of her cycle, she would be back at our house safe and sound. These cycles continued on for about 2 years until late September of 2019. When her health became so bad, she needed 24/7 care, and my father decided that he could no longer take care of her with my mother under our roof. We decided to move her into a beautiful nursing home, despite how guilty we felt. I was very upset that I could not walk 2 doors down to say hello to my grandmother. Instead, I became like my friends, and I did have to drive and get dressed to go see my grandmother to give her a big hug and a kiss. But I knew it was for the better. Not even 2 months into her stay at the nursing home, she was transported to a hospital for kidney failure. Now, being more mature at age 18, I knew that things were getting bad when I saw everyone sobbing and everyone crying 24/7. She seemed very nonverbal and she couldn't even say my name or say I love you back. But being more mature at my age, I knew her final cycle had come. I knew that at the end of this cycle, she would not be back at my home. Instead, she would be resting peacefully. I knew also that it was her final cycle when I came into her hospital room and I saw relatives that I had not seen in years to come say their goodbyes. She ended up passing away on October 16th, 2019, and ever since then I truly understood the meaning of never take what you love for granted. I never once took my grandmother for granted, although I do feel a little bad that every single time her cycle went through, I wasn't worried at all every time she would go into the hospital. But I never once took her for granted. But as time passes, it does get pretty hard to cope with her passing, and I just long for one more hug, one more coffee delivery, one more hug, and one more kiss. And so the message I bring to you all is that this story of an invincible woman who I thought was immortal is that love for anyone or anything should never be taken for granted because the path of life is very unpredictable.